Rocketman is a musical biopic that tells the story of the famous English musician Elton John. The film takes us on a journey through his childhood years, rise to fame, personal struggles, and eventual self-triumph, showcasing the highs and lows of his singular career. Biographical movies often follow a shared formula, with ones about musicians having their own variation. Patrick Willems made an excellent video on the topic not too long ago, where he dissects what the formula is and why the music biopic can feel stale and familiar. I highly recommend you watch it. I'll leave a link to the video in the description. So, how does Rocketman fare against the formula? Well, it doesn't break the mold per se, but it does bend the rules far enough to distance itself from other related products. The trailers market the movie as an adaptation of a fantasy instead of the standard based on a true story acknowledgement, and I'm ecstatic to say that it delivers in this respect. While Rocketman hits the same story beats we've grown weary of over the years, the approach taken revitalizes the subgenre, pushing the invisible constraints to their limit. Rather than simply showing the events that occurred during Elton John's life, the film goes full Busby Berkeley on us with major mellifluous moments and show-stopping numbers to help tell the story. Spatial playfulness, massive productions, and intelligent interludes evoke the spirit of classic Hollywood musicals while simultaneously creating something fresh. Rocketman never shies away from communicating plot and theme through music. For instance, when Elton plays his first gig in America, his music is expressed as uplifting in the most literal sense, with everyone in the room actually floating with felicity. Here, the performance is diegetic, but director Dexter Fletcher illustrates its power by making the figurative and abstract real, instead of resorting to the usual smiling crowd and dialogue telling us how good the music is. Another scene involves Elton performing live for the first time. He begins in a cozy restaurant, and before you know it, the film has whisked you away to a nighttime carnival with dozens of extras dancing in synchronized glamour. The purpose here is to indicate Elton's true nature as a musician and the type of energy his music elicits, while contrasting the timid young prodigy we've seen thus far. Other parts of his life, such as his descent into self-hatred and his successful recovery, are handled in a comparable manner, and each example of this form of storytelling is brilliant. The Alcoholics Anonymous scenes were something else I appreciated. See, the film is told mostly in flashback, from Elton's perspective while at an AA meeting. He barges in donning one of the outlandish and ostentatious costumes he's known for. He starts sharing his history and reason for being there. As the film progresses, Elton begins shedding more and more parts of his costume, symbolizing how we're getting to the core of who he really is, trimming away the layers that only superficially define him. It's terrifically done and pays off beautifully during the final minutes of the movie. Of course, one of the film's greatest strengths is the increasingly talented Taron Egerton, who plays Elton like he was specifically manufactured for the part. He's a tremendous fan of his, and the raw passion and dedication come across gloriously. Egerton plays the pianist with such vigor and enthusiasm that it truly transcends the screen. Not only does he embody the personality wonderfully, but he also outdoes himself with his vocal performance. If you watched Sing back in 2016, where Egerton fittingly covers I'm Still Standing in the finale, then you were aware of how perfect he was for this role. Elton even said that no one can sing his songs the way Taron Egerton can, and he proves it several times over. But what caught me off guard was Bryce Dallas Howard as Elton's mother. I wasn't aware that Howard was going to be in the film, but she is impressively dominant and enticing to watch. Jamie Bell and Richard Madden also appear, as Bernie Taupin and John Reed respectively. The two are great in the film, but Bell's character is a bit underutilized, and John Reed is written rather one-dimensionally, which is slightly unfortunate. And apparently, there's some secret Hollywood precedent where only actors who've appeared on Game of Thrones can portray John Reed in the movies. Go figure. The only significant issue I have with the film actually comes from one of my favorite aspects. Rocketman has so many scenes that exceed the boundaries of reality that, by comparison, the straightforward sequences feel a little dry. It's a strange problem where the film's greatest moments lead to the existence of its lesser ones, but it's worth mentioning. Rocketman is a perfect example of how to stick to a story formula without making it feel formulaic. Taron Egerton fires on all cylinders, the musical elements are expertly implemented, and the central theme of self-love is astonishingly resonant and marvelously crafted. The picture masterfully blends the theatric with the cinematic, creating a magnificent atmosphere that paints Elton John's life as a realized fantasy. I wouldn't classify myself as an Elton John fan. I enjoy some of his songs, but I knew next to nothing about him walking into the theater. My mother, on the other hand, whom I brought with me to see the film, is a lifelong devotee, and she found numerous opportunities to sing along a little too loudly while tearing up with joy. So, whether you're a diehard fan or a casual viewer, I suggest you go and see this movie. I give Rocketman an A-. So those are my thoughts on the movie, but more importantly, what did you think of it? And what's your favorite Elton John song? Be sure to let me know in the comment section. And, if you like this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to my channel for similar content, as that would really help me out. See you in the next video.